Well, out of 34 years, we have only 3 big winning seasons, so this was truly the best. I mean, there's no question. Last year for the program was probably the best ever, and something that they can hopefully take advantage of and go forward to make it a nice run in the future. But what did it mean for the program? It really meant that people started to pay attention. I'm a native of New Hampshire. I still think it is a basketball state with all the high school tournaments that just draw sellout crowds. The basketball fan is hungry for a program like this to grab onto. I think that if they can do it again or do something near this again this year, you're going to see the regular season crowds being very big. Well, they started good, and then all of a sudden they went into a little bit of a swoon, so it probably was not until late January when you started to say the other teams at the top are not really paying attention, that we are really pretty good. We've got some young kids that are getting better, and I realize that's what makes them the unknown, because they were still very young. But they were getting better every game, and they took that position of nobody's paying attention, and it snuck up, got into 3rd place, and really felt, and even in their games against Albany all season long, with just very good games, the 2 during the regular season and the 1 in the playoff, I think, total point difference was, I think, 5 points. So I think they snuck up on people, but it began somewhere around the end of January, beginning of February. I think if anybody actually looks at the videos, and they'll know that it had a great deal of interest created within the school body. But here, I have to give the university a lot of credit with the idea that they have a kind of what I think is called a cat pack. It's a group of students that really get the other students fired up. They had the painted faces, they had the bands, they had the 2 bands. It was an atmosphere in here that, even though we said only about 2,000 fans, was equal to just the big atmosphere that has never, ever been experienced here before. So by having the new format, and really the closest we came to a playoff ever was, I think we were a few seconds away from beating Binghamton to get to the semifinals a few years back. So it was a first, and like anything that is a first, people get excited. Will it happen again if we get a playoff game? I think if the idea continues to be generated by the young students who are promoting it with the other students, I think you're going to see the same thing again and again here for a little while in a way, because if winning makes everybody happy, then that'll make everybody happy. All the schools that we compete against know every player from Maine to Maryland and the Carolinas. They have a history. They're competing against each other. So the idea was to go somewhere else where they're not being recruiting against their fellow opponents. And that's where Texas came into being. But his theory being that there are just so many good players in the state of Texas that if they don't make it to the big schools, the Division A's, the University of Texas is an example, that they have no place to go except to a community college or schools like that. So it's giving them an option. Do they have the guts to come to cold New England and get away from Texas with the idea that you're going to play Division I basketball? It was a great idea, and it worked, but I think credit to the Texans who came here first, who stuck it out, and then probably were able to be the spokesman from that point on. Well, I think any of us who have followed it for a long time, we have to be optimistic. I mean, we off 19 wins, we lost a very good player in Matt Miller. But everybody else is back. You hope a couple of rookies can come in and play a little bit of a role too. You can't help but be excited. So based on the playoffs, based on what happened in that quarterfinal against Hartford and the semifinal at Albany, these players should be ready to play. I assume they've been playing all summer long. I got a feeling they're chomping at the bit. I think it's going to be a good year, and we can look back to last year as part of the reasons for it.
Who are you looking for on this team in particular to play a big role?
Well, you got the main guys up front. Of course, Tanner Leisner is going to be the Rookie of the Year back. You run them down, and they're all Armstrong, Smith. They've all got their roles. Even Ronell Jordan, another senior, one of the 2 seniors who's been a role player all year, he comes off the bench and sparks energy. So I think they play off each other. I mean, certainly we know Leisner is going to be up there, and Jalen Smith is going to be up there. But I think they play off each other on any given night. Somebody new can be the high scorer.